What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 10 different things, the do's and don'ts of Dota that you should be implementing into your game, or at least changing your mindset so that you can start winning, right? I genuinely want to be kind of serious in this video about what is important to go open MMR and what you should start doing and what you should stop doing. This pro guide you're about to see is one of hundreds, just like it, over at gameleap.com. Gameleap is your #1 stop to become a specialist in your desired role fast. Check us out today with the discount link in the description below to unlock your hidden potential, but for now, let's hop into the video. So for the first do of the video is one that I've noticed a lot of players struggle with, and even sometimes I feel like I almost preach against this to some extent, but that's you should work with your teammates. Like, really do work with your teammates. It's one of those things where at the highest of MMR brackets, you'll constantly see ganks that revolve around more than one hero, right? But the lower and lower you get, the more I feel like it's either just a 5-man fight or just people making solo plays, okay? The 2 or the 3-man gank, or even the 4-man movement, I believe is one of the most powerful plays of Pro Dota. You notice teams like Infamous or OG would constantly make plays as 3, 4, even 2 if it was Jerax or Thompson in the mid lane, and it would create immense amount of space, but also enable them to get kills. Killing a hero alone in Dota is mad hard. It's crazy hard, but if you have 2 heroes, it instantly becomes that much easier, right? Killing a TA as Pugna is not necessarily that easy alone. Killing TA with a Tiny and a Pugna is a super simple task, and that is why turn on your mic, and remember, I'm going to be talking about a couple points that will make this even more effective in our games in a bit, because a lot of people can turn on their mic and then they just start speaking passive-aggressive. They're like, guys, like, why didn't we roast there? Like, I don't know what we're thinking. Stop. Just stop. Like, if you want to win, the biggest thing, in my opinion, that everyone lacks is the ability to turn on the mic and say things that are useful. Say things that are useful, right? Have a purpose. Now, for the first don't, I just want to mention that I really don't think you should start with Quelling Blade in the side lane, and every pro doesn't do this as well. So why do I see every single core buying a Quelling Blade into the side lane? It makes no sense. Just buy it at the side shop, right? Save 100 gold by only going Stout Shield, 6 Tangos, and a branch, and then, as a result, you're going to be able to save extra, right? You're going to have the branch, the extra Tangos, and the Stout Shield, right? You can get even the small items, so you can buy another Mango too if you're a Jugger or Wraith King. And then, after the bounty runes, you can buy the Quelling Blade at the side shop. Another reason why I really wish more people would sometimes not rely on Quelling Blade so hard is because if you want to get good at denying, you can't, right? And denying creeps is such a big deal the higher and higher you get, because it allows you to get a level 2 advantage, right? You'll hit level 2 first, or you'll hit level 3 first, or level 5 first. And that can be a complete inflection point in how the lane actually ends up. Now for the second do. Focus on particular aspects of the game when trying to improve. So I see a lot of misdirection, and when I'm personally coaching people, I find like this is one of the best things I can offer people, and you can do it for yourself, where you need to focus on some aspects of the game, right? If I want to teach you Dota, or you want to teach yourself Dota, you can't just figure out quote-unquote mid-game just like that. You have to figure aspects of mid-game, like smoke ganking, or split farming, or AFK farming in the jungle, or pressuring towers. There's so many different aspects. And the same thing for the laning stage, right? If you want to improve, I recommend you start with the laning stage. And you just say, okay, I need to get better last hits. Because frankly, if I was to look at a game in the Guardian bracket, the average last hits around 10 minutes, typically is around 35. If you go all the way up to a Divine or Immortal game, for cores, it typically, like, let's say it's not just a heavy kill game, it's around 50 to 60, right? It's that simple. So if you can't get that number, why do you deserve to go up in MMR? So really, focus on one aspect of the game. Focus on last hitting, or understanding how much damage you do on one hero. And that's why I believe heavily in picking a hero 3 to 5 times, so you can actually figure out, you know, their attack animation, how much damage you do to last under tower, right? How much damage you need to secure the range creep. All these different things are super important. So just narrow it down and make your life simple. Now for the second don't use the courier in a side lane before asking you're a mid laner. Your items are not as important, like, period. Is it okay if you have multiple items, Tangos, Sentries, Wars, a Wraith Band, to use courier in a side lane? Of course, but simply ask the mid laner if they need to ship out a salve, because frankly, their lane can literally win or lose, predicated on one salve. can end the lane, or one mango. And as a result, in a side lane, best case scenario, guys, no, I'm not even kidding, if you need items, tell your position 5 to go kill themselves. I would rather see that than at a minute in, or even when the game starts. Oh, dude, okay, recently the one that made me the most angry, I'm not even kidding, I watched a game of this because I watch quite a bit of low MMR Dota for coaching purposes. Someone shipped a quelling blade at 0-0. Bounty rune spawn, they shipped a quelling blade. Are you kidding me? But all jokes aside, I'm going to go towards a slightly more positive route. I know I've been a little bit, uptight, like serious mode, but for the third point, do enjoy Dota, guys. This is such a great game that we all play. Honestly, I'm glad that it came into my life at some point. It's done a ton for me. I've met a lot of cool people. I've had a lot of good experiences, and I'm glad to say I'm not burnt out of the game even after 5 years of playing. I still like it, right? I can play an unranked game and like it. And you might be like, what, Speed? You play unranked? Yes, because I genuinely enjoy the game. Right, like, I don't need the emotional roller coaster to want to queue for a Dota game. Maybe not everyone does. Maybe that's just me assuming things. But really, like, if you feel like you're getting burnt out, you got to take a break. You got to take a break. And this is one of my main theses of Dota. You don't need to play a lot of ranked to actually go up an MMR. In fact, I think the less the better sometimes. And this might sound crazy, right? How is the less the better? I think as long as you're playing Dota and enjoying the game, or studying, like watching videos, thinking about it, right? Self-criticizing yourself on your last game, right? Figuring out mistakes, you can improve. And that's why in many cases, if you only play 2 ranked games a day, I think you're going to go up an MMR faster than the person who plays 5 to 8. As long as, you're somewhat equal on the amount of time they spent on improving in Dota, right? You still have to put the time in. But a lot of times what I see is people burn out. They lose, they insta-queue. They win, they insta-queue. It doesn't matter. They just insta-queue. No matter what their emotional state is. Do you understand how important your brain is in succeeding? Unbelievably important. So please, if you're in a bad mood or you're hating Dota, stop playing. Take a break. Go watch some inspirational pro video, right? Like any of the interviews, the no-tail interview. If you watch that, I guarantee the next game you go into, you'll be at least slightly more PMA to start. Third on the list is do not doubt your ability to reach a higher level of success after one loss. Now, this is one that personally hits home for me. I struggled with this a lot when I was trying to get to super high MMR, right? Over and over again, I had severe issues with self-confidence. And I'm sure a lot of you guys could attest to this for yourselves. I just lacked it. I really lacked self-confidence. I would lose a game or lose a lane and everything would collapse. I just didn't want to play. And to some extent, this actually helped me because I wouldn't rage queue like I know a lot of people do. But at the same time, I would get so nervous. I would start doubting myself. Instead of focusing on improvement and what I could do to get better, I would freak out and just be like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so bad at this game. For all you type of players, understand that you have to play the long game for Dota. If you want to improve, it's gonna, like, from something like Legend to Immortal, it can take a long time. It can take years. So one bad day of Dota or one loss is so small in the big picture. It's like, it's nothing. It's literally nothing, right? You're going to have a bad game, right? It's going to happen. So please, have some confidence. For all the pro players I know out there, at some point, whether or not it's due to the fact that they're born with it, right? Born with self-confidence, or if they gain it, they have it, right? They believe they're one of the best. You have to believe you're one of the best to become one of the best. You have no choice. Like, you actually have no choice. If you constantly doubt yourself like I did, I'm sure I wouldn't have been able to get to top 50 at some point if I consistently doubted myself. At some point, I was able to break through and believe I'm better than everyone around me. And now I'm even better at that. When I queue into a game, no matter who it is, I'm just going to try to beat you. You could be Divine, you could be Legend, you could be Herald, you could be CC&C. No matter who it is, I'm going to go into the lane and just try to destroy you. That is my only goal, destroy you. So the fourth do is mute your teammates, and this one's straightforward, right? But actually no one does it. I'm very confident this is one of the best ways to actually gain MMR. If you struggle with people with confidence especially, where whenever you get flamed, because I actually hear this all the time. In fact, it's one of the most common things I hear, where when I tell someone to do something a bit controversial or something that's outside of their comfort zone, like split pushing when their team wants to take a fight, or, trying to make space through actually running down lanes and farming lane creeps in dangerous areas, I often hear the response of, but my team's gonna flame me, right? And then I don't feel so good about that. Or, sometimes they'll leave off the second half. They'll just be like, but I'm gonna get flamed. And my question is, does it matter? Once again, if you're playing to win, if you're not griefing, and you're playing for the better of your team, doesn't matter. Does it genuinely matter? No, of course not. Most people don't run down mid as long as you keep them in the game. You're going to have games where someone runs down mid off draft when no one has said anything. I've had that. It happens. But for the majority of games, when people start running down mid or breaking their items, it's much later on. It's usually because someone said something to them to tick them off. And a lot of the times, it's you. So open up the game. If you know you can't deal with these type of things at this point in your life, open up the thing and just start clicking the buttons until they're red. All red. Friendlies, enemies. Just click it, please. For yourself, for me. Because I honestly think this will help people more than anything else. Now, the fourth don't is something more Dota related instead of mentality, even though I think Dota is literally 50-50 in gameplay and mentality if you're trying to gain MMR. It's don't overdive for kills when ahead. I see this problem a lot, especially when I'm going lower and lower in terms of what games I'm watching, where kills are the priority. Kills shouldn't always be the priority in Dota, right? If you're going to kill, it should be an attempt to actually shut down farm, right? You should literally kill an attempt to actually limit other people's last hits to the large extent. Otherwise, if they're already zoned off the wave and they're 1/4 HP and you're full, you don't need to dive them. In fact, I think it's one of the worst plays in Dota because what ends up happening is you dive them, they TP back, and then they're an advantage. Simply use leads, use regen leads to zone people off waves. Don't dive. It really hurts the overall state of the lane, and it's a big reason why I think people constantly run out of regen, run out of the ability to actually gain a lead. Like, the majority of players I know, they never have experienced, like, winning a lane level 3 to level 6, where it's that good. That's hard, right? I don't expect to see that in the majority of games. I don't even think I could do that in the majority of games. It's extremely difficult to do that. But it's possible if you take the steps to actually zone people off waves, rather than constantly dive. Killing is not the way to win Dota. It's a whole culmination of different things. And finally, the last do is do listen to criticism and do own up. One strength of mine, as I had to grow up with people in my life that were extremely critical of my play. I would consistently get criticized whenever playing traditional sports over and over again. And as a result, I wasn't happy with it. I was someone who lacked quite a bit of confidence, like I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to. But at the same time, when I would hear criticism, my first thought wouldn't be, back off, I don't want to hear you. Fortunately, I don't have that. And I think that was a big reason why I was able to go up in MMR relatively quickly. Because even when I got, no joke, when I would get flamed, there were periods in times where I was able to flip it around and actually take something useful out of it. That ability is so powerful. It is so powerful. And I'm not saying this to hype up myself. I'm saying this because I want you to really think about it. If every time you get flamed, like let's say someone says, why didn't you ward the Roshan high ground and this is why we died? A lot of players would instantly go back with like, kill yourself or something like that. Right? I mean, not kidding, like, honestly, that would usually be something like the response. But if you can think about it, be like, okay, maybe next time I will, right? Maybe next time there is some merit to that, and I can learn from it. Because even though they're being mean, maybe there's something useful in what they're saying. There are times where people are just blabbing their mouths and being ridiculous. That happens too. But especially if someone's been playing well and maybe you're having an off game, instead of feeling insecure, really try to like understand why they're getting frustrated. Understand how you could have helped them the next game to actually win. And finally, the last point of the video. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying, and this is a bit of a different type of video, a bit of a theory video for me. But hopefully you've been enjoying and learning a lot from it, because it's something I like doing. I think it's really the half of Dota that everyone ignores, and the one that actually creates results for a lot of players. So the last don't of the video is buying only DPS items on cores and supports. Way too often will I see on something like a Clinks, a Deso, into Ags, into like Bloodthorn. In cases, there are games where you can get away with this, right? There are cases where Deso and a Daedalus might have been the call on TA. Probably not, really. But the majority of games you see, especially with pros, is they incorporate a lot of defensive items and defensive play into their games. Whether it's a Force Staff, it's literally broken in the pro scene. I saw multiple fights won strictly because of a good Force Staff, or at least that's what it seemed. And you can do the same thing in your pubs. I bought a Glimmer Cape recently in a Pugna game, and I genuinely believe it's the reason why we might have won some mid-game fights. It kept me alive. I got jumped. It kept me alive. And because I didn't rush a Dagon on Pugna in that game, when I was having kind of a meh game, we won the fight. I stayed alive. I was able to get off all my spells multiple times, right, because I'm a Pugna, and we won the fight because of a Glimmer Cape on a mid laner. The majority of players would never, you don't even consider it, because simply how I think the misconception for people in Dota is that in order to keep themselves alive, It's like they need to kill people. It's the idea of like the best offense is a good defense. Like, yes, in some cases I understand. Like, Pugnon Dagon can keep you alive if you burst someone who's trying to jump you. But if there's 3 heroes trying to jump you, odds are you're gonna die. And in Dota, that's very often the case. If you're the high priority target, there's probably not only 1 hero trying to kill you. But the main idea is buying HP items, buying stats, buying a BKB, buying Force Staff and Glimmer Cape wins games. It wins games if you understand how to use them. The biggest one for me is Wand. If more people bought this item and used it effectively, like to turn fights, like how the pros do it, they literally bait in an engagement with proper Wand usage, or they stay alive due to it. If you understand how to do that, you have such an advantage in comparison to the people around you. It's so big. Things like Glimmer Cape. If you save your Juggernaut who gets ganked with 1 Glimmer Cape and 1800 gold item, 1850, you can change a fight. You can win a solo queue game because of that, right? If he gets Omni Slash off in 1 fight, it keeps the mental state up of the team, and you get Roshan, you can win because of it. So please start considering these items, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please do like and subscribe to help the channel grow. I appreciate your support, and yeah, hopefully you're looking forward to the next video. Are you tired of being hard stuck at your rank? Over at gameleap.com, we have a library of hundreds of guides authored by pro players and coaches covering literally every aspect of Dota. Whether you're looking to master a new hero or role, or just polish up your existing skills, GameLeap is the proven place for competitive gamers to hone their craft and unlock their secret potential. Hit the link on screen right now to take advantage of our special offer for a 25% discount, guys. 25%, and start your journey today.